Picture yourself standing at a roulette table. The wheel spins, the ball bounces, and for a moment you believe, maybe, just maybe, I can beat the casino. Roulette has been called the queen of the casino, a symbol of glamour and chance. But behind the lights and the excitement, there's a cold question. Can anyone actually beat roulette? Today we'll dive into the math, the history, the psychology, and real stories of those who tried and sometimes succeeded in taking on the wheel. 1. Roulette. History and allure. Roulette was born in 17th century France, almost by accident. Blaise Pascal, a mathematician, was experimenting with perpetual motion and created the first version of the wheel. By the 19th century, roulette had become the crown jewel of Monte Carlo casinos, attracting aristocrats and millionaires. Two main versions dominate today: European single zero, 37 slots, and American double zero, 38 slots. That one extra zero makes all the difference. The house edge jumps from 2.7% in Europe to 5.26% in the US. It may look small, but over thousands of spins, it's the difference between fun, entertainment, and inevitable loss. 2. Probability strips away the illusion. Betting red or black feels like 50/50ths. It isn't. In European roulette, 18 red, 18 black, 1 green 0, gives your chance is about 48.6%. In American roulette, 18 18s plus 2 zeros gives just 47.3%. That tiny margin the house edges, what guarantees casinos will always profit in the long run. Example: if you bet $10 a spin for 1,000 spins, on average, you'll lose about $270 in European roulette, or $526 in American. 3. Famous strategies. The illusion of control, the martingale. Double, and you'll win. Popular in 18th century France. It's the most famous betting system. The logic: every time you lose, you double your stake. One win recovers all losses, plus a small profit. The problem: real life has limits. Tables have maxims, and your bankroll is not infinite. Story example: start at $10 gives lose. Bet $20 is. Lose again, $40. After 10 losses, you need over $10,000 just to keep going. Extreme cases happen. In Monte Carlo in 1943, the wheel hit black 32 times in a row. Any martingale player would have been destroyed. Fibonacci and other mathematical progressions based on the famous Fibonacci sequence. It looks sophisticated, but it's just another way of chasing losses. It feels safer because the jumps are smaller than martingale, but the house edge never disappears. The Paroli, betting on streaks, the opposite idea. Double only after a win. It feels like riding the hot hand. Safer than martingale, but it relies on a false belief that streaks are predictable. Lebouche and D'Alembert systems with complex number sequences and adjustments that give players the illusion of control. They sound smart, but they're just different costumes for the same underlying truth. The odds never change. Reflection: these systems didn't come from statisticians. They came from gamblers trying to tame randomness. They survive because they appeal to our psychology. We hate losing and love believing there's a trick to beat the system. 4. Real attempts to beat the wheel. Joseph Jagger, the original wheel breaker, 1873, an English engineer who hired assistants to record thousands of spins in Monte Carlo. He discovered a wheel with mechanical bias. Some numbers hit more often. He bet accordingly and won over £65,000, millions today. The casino responded by moving the wheels and fixing defects. The Santa Barbara team, 1970s US scientists, built tiny computers hidden in shoes. They measured the balls and rotor speed and predicted landing zones. Their advantage was significant, almost 40 to 45%. They profited until casinos noticed unusual play and shut them down. The Pelayos, Spain, 1990s. A Madrid family who spent months tracking results at casinos. They discovered poorly calibrated wheels and exploited the bias. They won millions across Europe and America before being banned almost everywhere. Their story became so famous it was turned into a book, and later a movie. Other cases in South Africa and the UK, players exposed flawed wheels and forced casinos to replace them. The pattern is always the same. The only real way to win long-term is exploiting physical imperfections. On a perfect wheel, no one can change the odds. 5. Psychology at the table. The gambler's fallacy. Believing that after 10 reds, black is due. In reality, every spin is independent. The wheel has no memory. Famous case: Monte Carlo, 1913. The The wheel landed on black 26 times in a row. People lost fortunes betting on red, convinced it had to come next. Casinos thrive on these cognitive biases. They know players crave patterns even in pure randomness. 6. The math of expectation. Every bet in roulette has a negative expected value. Think of it as an invisible entry fee you pay every time you spin. Short-term luck can bring winnings, but over time the entry fee always adds up. This connects to the law of large numbers. The longer you play, the closer your results will match the mathematical edge of the house. 7. Roulette versus other types of gambling. In poker, skill creates an edge. Better players beat worse players. In sports betting, data models can find mistakes in odds. But in roulette, there's nothing you can do. No decision changes the probabilities. It's pure chance. 8. Final reflection. Roulette is theater, adrenaline, and entertainment. Famous betting systems are psychological traps that give the illusion of control. The only winners in history exploited broken wheels, not secret strategies. If you play, do it for fun, and with money you're willing to lose. Conclusion. So, can you really beat the casino at roulette? Mathematically, no. Historically, only a handful of players did, and only because they found effective wheels. Roulette remains proof that probability always wins. If you want me to break down other famous systems like Martingale, Fibonacci, or Paroli in full dedicated videos, hit subscribe and comment. Which strategy should I dismantle next?